Hello friend, and welcome back to Pioneer Health and Homestead. This is supposed to be my Every Bit Counts Challenge Week 4 video. However, things have taken a fun little turn for me and I wasn't able to get as much done as I wanted, and so is life, right? The baby, who is almost 2 in October, has really been teething. And there was also a sickness that came through our house this last week that we've been dealing with the children. And there were also dental appointments where a child had to have some procedures done. It's just been very chaotic here. That said, we still have to live life and persevere. And I hope that this video can encourage you to continue making small steps and to just keep moving forward with what you're able to do as life throws you those lovely curveballs. I was only able to do simple preservations that I've already shown you previously, so I'm not going to make redundant in this video, such as saving herbs from my garden. I am going to show you today what a exhausted morning looks like in my household with my children after having been up since about 3 a.m. with the baby, and about the third or fourth night in a row of this, so forgive me for looking a little damper. I'm running on steam. This actually ended up being a 2 coffee pot kind of day for my husband and myself. So I'm just making simple baked oatmeal. This really is simple. I've made it for you on this channel before. Essentially, it is 2 cups of rolled oats, 1 cup of milk or water if you're dairy free, and then I use about a cup or so of applesauce. I've also used peach sauce in the past, and then I'm adding just some salt, less than a 1/4 cup of sugar, and then I also add some molasses to add some extra vitamins. It's really good for potassium, calcium, and some iron. And then you can also add vanilla extract if you'd like. I do end up adding some cinnamon because that just goes good with apples. You can also put cooked apples on the bottom of this, or if you have any apple pie filling, you can use that in here. It would be delicious. We've done that. And then I had already cracked 5 eggs into this. You can do more if you'd like, but I find it gets a little eggy. And then I have this really old organic palm shortening that I got many years ago, and I'm just trying to use it up. And unfortunately later today I mess it up with my canning because I forgot to move it. So anyway, mom brain, I'm not lying when I say I'm tired. I'm just gonna put it into a greased pan. That's about an 8 by 12 or whatever the average size is. And I like to put some chopped up butter on top. If you're doing dairy free, you can definitely omit this. Some others use brown sugar and put it on top. I really try not to load my children up on sugar first thing in the morning, so that is not my preference. But I just put a few dollops of butter on here and it melts up really, really nice for them. And it's just another fat for them to have in the morning. And last minute, I decided to go ahead and give them some bacon along with it for some added protein. Plus, my husband likes to eat bacon, of course. Normally, I would cook the bacon a little higher than 350, but because I was doing the oatmeal, it turned out just fine. But so for the oatmeal, you will just cook it at 350 for about 30 to 40 minutes. Sometimes, usually it's about 35 minutes for me. So my preservation challenge to myself today is to get to these really old tomatoes that I have. They're probably about 2 years old, 2 seasons ago, that I froze and never got around to getting because of pregnancies and, you know, newborns, all those kind of things that happen. I just have a lot left. There's a lot of peppers in there, everything. So today I'm just going to make some tomato juice. And because I didn't have the forethought to defrost it the night before, I'm just going to put it in my sink in the pantry and let them defrost pretty well. I'm just kind of going through to make sure that these are cored and scored to make it my life easier. If they were not, I was going to put them back and grab a different bag. But thankfully I did grab the right bags, and I had the forethought to do that before freezing them, thankfully. So I had these in the sink with warm water for maybe an hour or so, and then I ended up taking them out. I feel like my oven is very uneven in cooking. Let me know in the comments below if your oven does this, but it usually just cooks the outside to a crisp and it hasn't touched the inside of anything. So I am constantly having to open the oven, turn things around, and then like with this bacon, I have to take off the stuff that is cooked through or burnt and then put the stuff that hasn't cooked at all yet back into the oven. And it's very frustrating. This is actually our second oven. Our first oven died within the first year of buying this house, and this house was brand new. The Samsung is just not my favorite. There's many more issues with it in our house on other things. Can we not? That's hot, sweetheart. Come on. You see in there? Here, you want the light? There's the light. No. It's hot, baby. And so if you're in the market for appliances, I recommend staying away from Samsung. So how my kids like to eat this is they like the oatmeal to have milk poured over it. And I like that too because it helps cool it down really fast. So I don't have to sit there and wait for it to cool down in the plates. I just pour milk on it, and they got some bacon with it. And the oatmeal didn't last even till lunch. As you can see, the baby, that was probably his second helping, but he has fun with that. I generally try to run the dishwasher every single night because there's so many meals and people. I need it to be done basically daily. The boys have been a very big help. My 7 and almost 6-year-old really love to tag team this, and this is one of their daily chores that they do, and they do it pretty well. I don't think they've broken any dishes. I am in there. I am in the corner generally, making sure that stuff's getting done properly, but it is definitely a good task for their age. Because we've been so busy, I'm behind on making my bread, and that's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to use my mill, and I'm going to make freshly ground flour bread. This tea kettle, I love it because when it calls for warm water, I just turn it on the low setting, let it go for a minute maybe at most, turn it off, and I have warm water for my yeast or anything else that I am making. And it is wonderful. So for this recipe, I have adapted it from Sue Becker's book. I'll put that book in the description below. But essentially, I omit a bunch of her ingredients and feel that this recipe really suits my family. So if you've watched any of my videos, you know that I've already given up the using all-purpose flour or any kind of flour that is previously milled commercially. And that was ever since watching podcasts and YouTube videos that Sue Becker did interviews on, and then reading her book. I really feel like this is the healthiest way for my family to get better nutrition in this world of processed foods. I will put her cookbook in the description box below, but this recipe I did adapt from hers, and essentially it is 3 cups warm water, 2 tablespoons yeast, and I combine that together, and then I add in 2/3 cup oil, 2/3 cup honey, or you could double that and use sugar if you prefer. And then I do 1 tablespoon of salt. And then today I'm going to do her tip of adding 1 egg. And I will tell you, it makes a difference. I had started using eggs in other recipes, and my kids were commenting at how light and fluffy it was. And so I decided to do that today. And oh my word, I will show you at the end of this how it came out. I will be adding an egg every single time. Let me know if you make your own bread, if you add eggs, because it is seriously a game changer for us. And here you can see the different types of flour that I'm using. You can see the different colors. I believe I used 2 cups each of the kamut, the hard red, and the hard white. And I actually ended up needing more flour, so I had to grind more at the end. But as you can see now, it is activated. So I'm gonna go ahead and start adding in about 6, 7 cups to start, because I know I'm gonna need a lot. And if you are converting another recipe, rule of thumb is 1 1/4 cup for every 1 cup on the recipe, if it was for all-purpose flour. So my baby ended up really wanting to be held, and I needed to get this done, so he got to sit on the counter and help mommy. He got his own little spatula. He was tickled pink. He rarely gets to sit on the counter with me and do things. But this is definitely something that is out of my comfort zone that I'm learning to do more, is to just stop, slow down, and enjoy these moments with my children, especially when they're this age, learning to work with them, not around them, and bringing them along. It's one of the reasons I have chosen to stay home and leave my nursing career, and for us to take a huge pay cut and only live off 1 income. It's for moments like this. And if you've been considering it, I highly, highly recommend you do it if you can. It is definitely an adjustment, but where there's a will, there's a way generally. So I am just going to take the dough, and that took a while, by the way. That was about a 10-minute process. Slowly adding. The egg definitely made me have to add more flour. I got closer to about 10 cups, I believe, just very, very slowly. And then I just used avocado oil to oil up my favorite big bowl here. I use it for so many things, and as you'll see in this video actually, and just kind of work it a little bit, just a quick little knead to put it into a ball. And I will come back to it in a couple hours. I've found that fresh ground flour does take longer to rise. It is not like it within an hour. Every recipe I've tried, I have to come back to, as it looks even different. You can see that it's a little bit more grainier. It's beautiful. It smells amazing. If you can make the switch. And I did mention that my son is teething like crazy. He's getting them all at once. Poor little guy. So I'm giving him some of his little Highlands teething tablets. And then his other favorite thing to take is the Earthly's teeth tamer. I will put links to these down below if you're looking for a natural remedy for your baby that may be teething. These are something that we keep on hand at all times until everybody is done teething, which so far has not happened. So I'm just gonna go back to these tomatoes. They're mostly thawed out, so I'm just gonna dump them into the pot that I'm gonna finish warming them up in, just enough to get the majority of the skins off. But first I noticed there was a lot of ice, and I don't want extra ice or water in my juice, so I was taking off as many of the big chunks as I can. I got this little food mill at a local antique shop. This will be the first time we get to use it, and oh my word, I'm hooked. I love this thing. And I'm just getting my citric acid out for when I do You can do lemon juice. I prefer the citric acid. I feel more comfortable with it. We shall see if that holds. I have ginormous amounts of citric acid I need to get through, so maybe that's it. Let me know in the comments below what you prefer to use. Do you like citric acid or lemon juice? And I'm just, while this is warming up, because it is on, but it's just not hot yet. It's barely warm, honestly. I'm just starting to take off as many of the skins as I can, just to make the juicing process easier. And it really didn't get too warm. This really was a simple process. And I did end up bringing one of my children in to help me with this, and they had a lot of fun with it once they got the hang of it. But as you can see, there's my new little bowl down below. I have another one. I love those plastic things. I don't like that they're plastic, but they work wonders. So my 7-year-old here is learning how to use this, and he ends up having a lot of fun with it. And like I said, it worked really well. I don't know what I did all these canning years without it before. Nothing better. If you need to go to an antique shop, I highly recommend, or a thrift store or something like that, definitely get to it. So I did 4-gallon bags and got a ton of juice. As you can see, that was one bowl. Here's my other bowl that he is working on. And it's just cool to watch, and the kids really do have fun with it. So now I'm just going to warm the juice up to match the jars that I have warming in my water bath canner next to it. And what we ended up doing with all the skins and seeds and everything is giving it to the chickens for a meal. I have dehydrated all that before. I just didn't feel like it this time. On this day, with how exhausted I am, I wanted to be done with it. And so, like I said, my jars were warming up in the canner. I had the lid over them to kind of steam them a little bit. That way I don't have to empty boiling water out of them. It's just a lot easier. And now I'm just going to fill my quart-sized jars with 1/4 inch of headspace left. I'm adding 1/2 teaspoon of citric acid to each jar. I'm mixing it in. Then I'm going to be wiping the rims to make sure that my jars seal, or at least are not hindered in their sealing process. I'm adding the jars to my pre-warmed up canner, like I had mentioned before, lowering it in and making sure that they are covered by water by at least 1 inch. And I process those for 45 minutes per my elevation and quart jars. And now I'm just going to grease up my bread bowls because my kitchen has gotten so warm. The bread rose very quickly, very quickly, as I will show you in a second. And I just sprinkled some of the leftover freshly ground flour onto the countertop. This is absolutely beautiful. It is so soft and squishy. You'll see in a second that I kind of like to play with it. I don't know what it is, but flopping this dough around on the counter was really therapeutic for me. Let me know if that is something that you find satisfying or if I'm just the oddball. But this dough was absolutely a dream to work with today. I think I'm getting the recipe down and I'm getting the hang of this freshly milled flour. At the beginning, I was pulling my hair out. So if you're new to it, give it time. It does work out, I promise. It is really worth it. So I'm just going to put this dough into the 2 loaf pans and let them have their second rise in my warm kitchen. It does not take very long. We'll see how it goes in the winter time. It might be like sourdough and take me all day. Who knows, but it tastes so good. And I am doing all of this with the kids at my feet or on the counter next to me, half asleep. I know if I sit down, I'm not getting back up. So I have to keep pushing through. I have to just keep doing this. There's stuff that needs to get done in this season that is just going to be difficult, and I know it will not last forever. I have been working all morning. This is what my kitchen really looks like. It is not picture perfect. It is full of dishes, and I'm not even done canning yet. So this is fun. Yeah, but I did get it done, and I feel good that I got it done. I didn't let the overwhelm set in. And all of these jars sealed. I am tickled pink about that. And I don't know if you saw previously in the dirty dishes, there was one jar full with the gray cap, and that is what I had left over. I wasn't going to run the canner again for one more jar. So I'll use that this week. And this is the tomato juice. It's still bubbling, fresh out of the canner, and listening to those pops as I was doing the dishes, very satisfying. I feel so good getting this done today and not letting overwhelm set in, but just pushing through and getting some things done to make every bit count, just like that challenge is. And I think this challenge has really done me some good this year, forcing me out of my comfort zone. So cast iron, I had this on the counter needing to be washed, so I figured I would just show you. Just use hot water and a brush and get out any bits or grease or anything like that. And then you're just going to dry it off with a towel. Your towel will get dirty. Please don't use a very nice towel that you were attached to. And then I'm just going to put it onto the stove at about a medium heat for a minute or two until it dries out. Then I am adding some coconut oil to swish around, and then I will be wiping it out with a rag. You can use a paper towel if you don't want to get your rag dirty. I don't care at this point. I have so much cast iron, but you don't want to leave globs of oil in there. And so you do want to wipe it around and get a good seal on that, a good seasoning. This is almost ready. So I'm going to go ahead and turn on the oven to 375. And then once it is preheated, I'm going to go ahead and score it just like you would with sourdough. I find that it rises a lot better when you do this. I don't necessarily think you have to, but I haven't had an issue since I started scoring it. And you're going to put this in the oven. Mine takes about 45 minutes to an hour. I would suggest starting at about 35 minutes and checking it. You want it at least 165 to 180 degrees internally. And with my oven, I always have to check it because it does not cook evenly. And now I'm just putting the lovely, lovely butter on top that helps just seal in that softness and adds that extra lovely buttery taste. I do it this way with my hands just to save on dishes, but you can definitely melt it and use a brush if you don't like to do it this way, or if you forget to do it when it's warm and hot. That is not an issue. So for snack, because lunch was basically a hodgepodge of leftovers and little cheeses and meats and everything, for a snack, since the bread was done and mainly cool, my children would like to have almond butter and jelly sandwiches, especially my little daughter right over there. She asks me about every hour for these. So I just wanted to show you what the crumb looked like and just how soft this bread really is. And I can tell you, this was my children's favorite. They said to make it like this again. It is just so buttery soft. I don't know another way to put it, but totally worth it. So if you can do, even if you're using all-purpose flour, you could probably do this. Just change the amounts a little bit. But if you haven't been adding an egg, I highly suggest you add an egg to your recipe. So thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I hope I was able to encourage you in some way to get some things done around the house, to not let overwhelm stop you from getting done what you need to get done, and to just know that there's going to be hard seasons of life and you will get through it. You just may not get through it how you thought or planned, but it will happen, and you will feel better on the other end knowing that you never gave up. And knowing that you did absolutely everything you could to ride those waves of the overwhelm and the chaos. And I hope I will see you in the next video. Let me know in the comments below if this encouraged you or not and what you'd like to see next time. Thank you, friends. Bye.